I just zoned in, and I just talked straight up. Whoops.
Oh, I did not watch the Geoff Shinkai video.
Me neither. I haven't seen his. Maybe we should watch his video first.
Yeah, we should actually.
Dude, are you recording right now?
Yes.
Yes, we got this point.
Anime is a Japanese colloquialism. This is a chicken salad sandwich on a bagel. I'm going to review it. The industry can fucking burn if it's going to have these terrible ideas, you know? Maybe the industry deserves to die. Look at these fucking idiot teenagers. This punk bitch motherfucker. I am a human machine. Can't fucking do it anymore.
And hello to another episode of Feeding the Content Machine. Today, we journey deep into the safari of videos featuring certain gremlin-looking dudes. Joining us today, returning from his technical difficulty prison, is Ghuntz. Hello, Ghuntz.
Yes, thank you. It's been a while.
It's been a while since you were on the show.
Yes.
It's been a whole episode.
It's been a whole episode and then a whole week.
Yeah, we missed a week because we forgot to do the podcast.
Literally because we forgot. So, in the end of the day, we're just as bad as Digi.
Yeah, because remember when Digi said he would do that thing for the $25 patrons tomorrow? You know, that thing he still hasn't done?
For like 6 months.
Oh, dude. Yeah, dude.
Well.
Welcome back, everyone, to Feeding the Content Machine, the podcast that happens every now and then.
Yeah.
Usually around Sundays. We are going to... So we've been doing this around the content roundups that Digibro has been posting. But we sort of fucked up by... we thought that they were going to be releasing every Saturday, and then it turned out they weren't. They were going to be releasing on certain dates in the month, like certain numbers of days.
The 1st, the 7th, the 14th, etc.
Yeah. So, and this is because Digibro doesn't have weekdays, like everyone else does. But me and Ghuntz do have weekdays, especially I do. So recording on Sundays really helped me, so we're gonna keep doing this on Sundays. And I'm gonna keep making my own roundups, so they're gonna be a little bit distinct from the Patreon page. But if you read the Patreon page, you can usually see sort of where we're running through. And our own rundowns that I make are always going to be in the description of the podcast at the bottom.
Yes.
You find them there. It's been this way for 2 podcasts already. I don't know why I'm explaining this now, but people haven't really been understanding it. So now people will know what we're going on. Also,
there's been a 2-week break, so people might have forgotten.
With the current roundup, we covered a lot of the... a lot of things on the last podcast, and there hasn't been too much content in the 2 weeks that have been. So our roundup is about as long as it usually is, despite being about 2 weeks.
Yes.
I haven't actually cut anything from it. So yeah.
But there's enough here to talk a long while.
Yeah, we will get the usual hour about in. So, let's go.
Yes.
First up, on the content roundup rundown, the title, so good I can finally say it, is the Animag Weekly Series, episode 1 and 2.
Yes. I, for one, fucking love this new show. I think it's probably After Dark's best new show. I've always been a sucker for nostalgic anime history and like stuff from the 80s and 90s, and reading like a snapshot of what the culture was and what the mindset towards anime from the 90s is so fucking fascinating to me that I just want to go and buy my own magazines and read them from top to bottom.
Yeah, I agree. This is really interesting. And for me, what's really interesting about the videos is not just the articles that G picks out, it's also his personality meeting these magazines. Because Digi is the like 20th century digital boy, right? He's 21st century. He's a new anime type of guy. But especially now, he's been more and more getting into some old anime. And he's always had a lot of very interesting opinions about old anime. A lot of opinions that I resonate with a lot. And he's also always had a lot more insight into Western anime culture than most people have. If you compare him to other anime YouTubers, a lot of them are very much newer to how deep anime otaku culture has looked over the past 10 years because they haven't really been as deep into it. Whereas Digibro has been like anime blogging for over 10 years.
Yeah, and he's not only that, but he's also just more interested in the old stuff more than the new. Like, if you check out all the most other popular anime YouTubers do, seasonal stuff or current year or last year stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that distinction that Digi finds in old anime is fascinating and also separates him from everybody else.
Yeah.
And is kind of unique in the sense that nobody else is talking about it.
But it's like Digi is the nuance, right? Because he will cover the new anime, and he likes a lot of new animes, and most of his favorite anime is kind of new. Like I think one of the oldest things in his 10 or 10s is like Bebop and Ponyo, and the rest is like from 2014 and shit. But at the same time, he has an appreciation for the old stuff, but he won't hold that up on some fucking pedestal just because it's old. He'll look at it and be like, oh, this is good and this is bad.
Yeah, he'll treat it just like he does current.
Exactly, which is something that is what's actually unique about him. Because if you get some of the more really academic, old school, like Gundam YouTubers, they'll just scoff at anything that's new. Whereas if you get your Gigax, they won't watch anything that's old. I don't know Giga specifically, but like that type of new anime YouTuber.
Yeah.
Whereas Digi is like, he'll watch everything.
Yes.
And he'll judge it all based on his taste. And if you understand his taste, you'll understand his review.
And this is why I personally like Digi so much, is because he will watch everything from every era, from every year. And as someone who is so fascinated with anime as myself, I want to have someone tell me about the old stuff without me having to look for it myself.
Yeah. and this combined with his pendant for really understanding fan culture. I mean, this is the guy who watched every single fan-created content about My Little Pony back in the day. Like, he's seen everything.
Yes.
As he said himself several times. Because he's really into fan culture and like what the community is like. And he's really invested in that. So with his perspective on what anime is watched, both old and new, and his perspective on being really into fan culture, this Animag Weekly series is like the culmination of both those things into something very entertaining. Where his perspective on these articles being written is like super fucking awesome to listen to. Yeah.
Speaking more about the articles themselves, I love the fact that, especially with the second episode, there's a lot of blatant elitism, and I find that so funny. It's the same thing as now, and it's so hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I was just barely born when these magazines came out.
I wasn't even conceived of yet.
Yeah. I think Mononoke was like around 95, right? Was it earlier?
I think it's 97, actually.
Is it 97?
Yeah.
Okay, it's somewhere in the late 90s, so it's about where I was born. So I don't really know how it would have been back then, but I can say that if anime culture if the internet wasn't really around right now, and I was as into anime as I am, I feel like I would be the kind of guy to write those really pretentious, badly written articles as well. So I identify with a lot of these letter writing people, especially in the proto-culture one, in the first one. I think was also pretty fucking elitist, so.
Yeah.
Because that was like the one that was designed to be elitist, whereas the other one was like the big industrial one.
Yeah.
But the second one was just as elitist as the proto-culture one was. It was just a different brand of elitism.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought, it's really fucking interesting. Did you keep doing this series?
Oh
please
God,
do
yes,
one
please.
on the Swedish Pokemon magazine.
You send him one?
I sent him a Pokemon magazine in Swedish. He can't read it.
Oh, okay, cool.
But he can look at the pretty pictures. It's interesting because in Sweden we've never really had anime magazines. We have these like franchise magazines. We've had a Yu-Gi-Oh magazine for a while, and the Pokemon one is like the one that's still going. And it's aimed at 11-year-olds. And the entire article is like, how to find this thing in the games. Have you ever thought of training a Lapras? This is a moveset you can use. None of it is like for playing seriously. It's all just to beat the Pokemon League. Like, it's just to play the games casually. And then it's like, let's take a whole bunch of screenshots from the anime and commentate on what characters appear in them. Oh, remember? See this character's in here? He sure is in here. There's no opinions in that whole magazine. It's the most corporate thing I have ever seen. And when I was 16, I read a fuck ton of them. Because that was when I was most into Pokemon. And it wasn't at all my style of Pokemon. But just the fact that it was about Pokemon at all and like sold in a regular store is why I read it. Because it felt like the only place where it was like accepted. Yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, magazines are dying. Or already
magazines
dead.
are dying.
Yeah.
Especially like niche magazines, right?
Yeah.
For nerdy stuff, because everyone who's nerdy moved onto the internet. The kind of magazines that are alive. I've been looking through a lot of magazine stands recently, trying to find anything about anime to send to Digibro.
Me too, honestly. I've been looking around more than before.
Yeah, but I can't find anything because all the magazines I find are for people who don't use the internet, and you know this because it's for old rich dudes and women in their 40s.
Yeah, the only like entertainment magazine that I find here is like Entertainment Weekly.
Yeah.
And a bunch of video game magazines that no one buys. That's it.
So there's like two big magazines in Sweden that are like actually good. It's the two history magazines that have a bunch of articles about history and about the recent discoveries in archaeology and like reading old documents and stuff, and they make a bunch of articles about what has happened in the world. They always have Hitler on the cover. Because Hitler's like the face of history in Europe. Like if it has Hitler in black and white on it, you know, like, oh, it's a history book. But yeah, and then there's the other one, Illustrated Science or whatever it's called. Illustrated Vetenskap. It's the science one. It's made by the same people who make the history one. And those are fine. They're good magazines because they're like really well produced. But every other magazine is about yachts, golf. Then there's 10 magazines which are called I'm a mother with a newborn baby and I'm home all the time, so I have time to read magazines about my baby. Then there's like celebrity gossip ones.
Oh, there's a shit ton here too.
They're for people who are either like old 60-year-old dudes who can afford magazines, yachts, and golfing, or 40-year-old women who happen to have a baby. And
why don't they just read like shitty romance novels?
And they do that too, dude. They have so much time. I mean, there's only 10 magazines about babies to read a week. I know this because my mom was big into like mom magazines when she was having my sisters, and they're still really big in Sweden. So yeah, there's no anime magazines. I'm sad about that.
Yeah,
that was a tangent. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
We have the newest Finish or Fail, number 11. It covered Alice, Skiga Kirei, and Konosuba 2.
Yeah.
The Konosuba round was great.
Yeah, it was great. God.
That
the
blanket.
Show, yeah, the blanket. It was so appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Konosuba is still, good show. Can't fault it. What I had a problem with was with their other two opinions.
Well, how we predicted one of them,
yeah.
And the other one was a bit of a surprise and was a bit controversial. So let's start with Alice the Soroku.
Yeah.
So Alice is a show that is bad, but it is very interesting, and we both liked it.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I will say that I don't think I actually enjoyed the first 5 episodes of it, which makes it a bad show by definition, especially by Digibro's taste and like how he thinks.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy the first 3. I thought the climax of the first arc was okay. I thought the midpoint was cool, and the last 6 were great.
Yeah, and we had predicted, as he mentions in the video, that he would drop it like hot garbage.
Yes.
And he did. And he did comment on the ugly-ass CGI PS2 rendering scene, which was awesome.
Terrible.
It was awesome. It's one of my favorite scenes in that show, because it's so ugly.
Oh.
But then he watched episode 2, he hated it. I understand that. Okay. He dropped Alice, it's completely reasonable.
Yeah.
What is the most interesting thing about this is, and I'll get to this later as well, but Digibro wrote a book 7 years ago called Scarlet City.
Okay.
And in this book, there is a blonde 5-year-old lolly character called Nine. And she's like not a real person. she's like an artificial person created from nothing. And she has the power to manifest anything that she imagines.
Are you serious?
And what she creates is a older brother character for herself who is like 20 something, and he is called Oni-chan. His name is Oni-chan. And he's like a dude who teaches her about how to be a real person and teaches her to like kids' books and elephants.
Oh my god.
And he's like a bit of a father figure for a magical lolly who's not a real person.
So basically Digi wrote a self-insert Dadaru book.
No, he didn't. This was just one part of it. But he did write a book about Alice from Alice to Soroku.
Yeah, that's exactly what the plot of Alice is. That's really fucking fascinating.
It is fucking fascinating that like one of the central characters in this fictional universe that Digibro created 7 years ago and has had as a part of his mind forever has a character that is just Sana or Alice from Alice to Soroku.
Oh my god.
And the fact that if the second half of Alice to Soroku had been the first half, which is the half where they explore the fact that Alice is a lolly who's not a real person and who can manifest anything.
Yeah.
And the whole that's the second half of Alice to Soroku. If that had been the first half, I think he might have watched the show just because he would have gone, "Oh fuck, this is 9.
Yeah.
This is my character."
Yeah, because the first 2 episodes don't really do anything with that.
The first 5 episodes don't do anything with that. Like, not until the 2 giant hands lady is defeated, and we move away from the whole Elfen lead story, and we move into the story with the mind control high schooler.
Yes.
And the fantasy world and stuff. Like, that's where the whole Alice is 9 thing comes up.
Yes.
So that was fucking fascinating. I didn't realize that watching this finish or fail, but I realized that yesterday when I listened to the whole book.
That's kind of mind-blowing, honestly.
It was fucking mind-blowing. So, Skige Kirei.
Yes, this is the big one.
Hot opinions.
Yeah.
Digibro didn't like the show because it is slow, boring, looks ugly, and is fake deep. And look, can Ghuntz, you and me, can we both agree that Digibro is right that the show is slow and ugly?
Yeah, it's definitely slow and ugly. But
yeah, it is
I for one found the ugliness kind of endearing. It kind of put it to a down to earth state, you know?
Yeah. What I think is interesting here, because we both like this show.
Yes.
But what is interesting is maybe not explaining why we like the show, but like how we relate to Digibro's opinion of the show. Because the whole fake deep aspect of it, I get why he'd think that, but I think that's almost giving the show too much credit.
Yeah, the show is not even trying to be deep at all. It's just like a quaint, simple love story between 2 middle schoolers.
Yeah, because he got that opinion from the main dude being all like, "Oh, I read literature and I say smart stuff all the time." But I always thought that the show was very clear about the fact that he's not actually that smart.
Yeah.
And that he kind of thinks he's smart. Like he writes a book a bit into the show, and the editor is like, "You wrote a light novel. This is not literature. Don't write light novels."
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, "Fuck, I don't want to write light novels. Light novels are shitty." But the whole world is like, "No, you write shitty books.
Exactly.
Like you're wasting your time. You're not that smart."
Yeah.
So I actually thought that was pretty charming. But I can kind of see, like, because Digi only watched 1 episode of the show, and because of the way that he drops shows, I can see why he dropped this show and why he would come to this conclusion.
Yeah.
But I think that
it's not the same kind of fake deep as something like Classroom of the Elitist, where it's just blatantly hitting you in the face with philosophical quotes.
Yeah, or like Ergo Proxy. It's not like Ergo Proxy.
No, like
yeah.
I kind of get the fake deep, but in the end of the day, I don't know. It felt like completely misunderstood the point of the show.
Yeah. I think Pedantic Romantic did a video on this show that was pretty good.
Yes. I remember that.
Pedantic Romantic is famously, like, she's the premier understander of Digibro. Like, one of the premier people. So, that, in the Discord Patreon chat, she was talking to Digi about this opinion a bit. And I thought that was an interesting conversation to read.
Oh, I did not read this.
Go watch Pedro's video. It's a good video about it. So that's that. Anything else?
No.
No. Then let's move on to the PCP Drama Cast.
Yeah. This one was weird. I honestly don't think I finished this one. It was so long ago. And
Yeah.
it was kind of a blur.
It was so long ago. 1 week. 1
Yeah.
week ago.
I mean, in Digi content years, that's like a long time.
Yeah. There was a new PCP today. I haven't watched it yet because I
neither.
don't know if Digibro's in it. So we're not going to talk about it because we don't know if Digibro's even in the episode.
Exactly.
But with the drama cast, I thought it was fun that Digi was so fucking abrasive in this one. Like, Digi went into it with not that many opinions or like analytical rants about the topic, but just to be an entertainer. He screamed and was funny, and I enjoyed him greatly.
Yeah, I mean, it's a drama cast. You're not really in there for interesting discussion when you're going into a drama cast. You're just kind of in there for the memes.
Yeah, and I think that Digibro's whole rant about how drama really helps everyone involved, and you should use it correctly, and it can be fun when you do it in the right way. I like that. I think that's really respectable. If you follow the whole Monkey Jones situation, Digibro was constantly talking about like, okay, it's out in the air, it's a thing now. Let's just make it fun. Let's make a show out of it.
That would have been so much cooler.
Yeah, it would have. I would enjoy that.
Yes.
And that's what Digi tried to do with his drunken funny rant, which was great.
and was taken the wrong way completely by everybody.
Something that May has called the most cringy thing Digi has ever made.
Yes.
Which was pretty good. Yeah, it's that's also fuck the Pizza Party podcast. The Feeding the Condom Machine is also starting beef with the Pizza Party podcast. They're a bunch of fucking hacks. Did you know this, Ghuntz?
I know the Pizza Party podcast is the one that has what's that guy called?
I don't know, because I have never listened to it. I don't know what anyone in it is, so I don't even understand what the concept of it is. I just know I'm supposed to hate them now, so I do.
Let me look it
Whoever you are. Okay, guy 1 on the Pizza Party podcast, you have an annoying voice. You have a fucking annoying voice, and I don't like you. Now, person 2 on the Pizza Party podcast, you are like always wrong no matter what you say. You're so fucking wrong. Now, person 3 on the Pizza Party podcast, you are like, I don't like you. I don't like you.
This is the Rebel Taxi podcast.
How many people are on it?
It's Rebel Taxi. I think it's another guy, and they have guests every now and then. And actually, Rebel Taxi in his own channel, like his own videos that he does are pretty good. I've followed him for a long time. He does like Western cartoon analysis, and like he takes old shitty cartoons and just goes through them.
Are you a filthy traitor?
A filthy traitor?
Yeah, these people, we hate them now, Ghuntz. We have to.
Why can't we just love everybody?
This is how drama works. We have to hate them now. So, Rebel Taxi has an annoying voice. Whoever the fuck his co-host is always wrong, and I don't like any of their guests. Finished opinion.
Oh, well.
I don't know anything about these people. I don't know who they are.
It's funny that there's beef with them because I'm a big fan of Rebel Taxi's content. Not big fan, but fan enough to where I watch his videos occasionally.
Yeah, but Feeding the Condom Machine is now also starting drama with this show.
Yeah, fuck you.
If you come at us, we have 300 subscribers. Bitch, we're like a real big deal. Of course. Like, at least 10 people listen to the entire episode every time.
Exactly.
2 of them are me. So, come at me, bro.
One of them is me.
Yeah. Okay, so then we have the punk rock anime... No,
Anime of the year.
Album of the year contender you haven't heard of. And it's Ferns' album.
I have not heard the album.
I have heard the album.
I really should.
It's cool. Ember is it Ember? Is it Flames? Whatever. That song is really fucking good. The one that goes, I don't know for December. That one's really good.
Is it like alternative rock?
I don't know anything about music. It was nice to listen to. Apparently it's punk rock because that's what Digibro's album is called. Video is called.
Yeah.
It's Fern. So we've seen Fern before. If you watch everything on Digibro's content, you would have seen an old After Dark vlog where he is in Blind Skywatcher's house and they sit in a basement and they record an improv album.
Yes.
Now,
when
in
he
this
was
video-
when he was traveling around the country a couple months ago.
yeah, and in this video you can clearly see Blind Skywatcher and Digibro sitting in different seats. What is harder to see is Fern sitting on the floor playing a different instrument, hidden behind a bunch of furniture, occasionally sticking up her head. So, Fern was one of the 3 people who recorded this improv album. She now released an album. Digibro really liked this album. I kind of liked this album. I thought it was cool. It's really short. It's about as long as Bedroom Bedrock. So
I'll give it a listen.
yeah. What's interesting about this video is that a lot of people were starting to accuse Digibro of basically shilling for a friend. So they were like, how can you do a review if you know the person? This is biased. And I'm like, bitch, did you watch the video? Because Digi really fucking clearly explains exactly why he likes certain aspects of the album. Like, oh, in this section, the fucking saxophone is crazy and I love the sound of it. Oh, in this section, the lyrics go like this, and they're really meaningful about trans issues, and I find that really cool. And then, in this section, it has the most memorable fucking melody I've heard, and it's been stuck in my head for half a year, and it has this deep connection to my relationship with my girlfriend because of the lyrics and how they were formed out.
Yeah.
Dude.
Also, you can like stuff that your friends made, and you can also not like stuff that your friends made. Like, if Fern would have come out with a shit album, I bet Digi would have also said that.
Yeah, like me and Ghuntz, we're friends. And Ghuntz is a very famous food analysis guy. And if I cook something for Ghuntz and he sees that I put ketchup on my pasta, he'll be like, bitch, this is a shitty thing. And he will film a video and he will call me a filthy Swedish man. and that's just that. See, he shit on me because it's about the product, dude. It's not about a friend. Exactly. And also, if you watch anything that Digi does, he shits on his friends all the time. Did you know that Digi's friends with Geoff on Facebook? That means they're real friends. Digi shits on Geoff all the time.
Yeah. One of Digi's favorite things is shitting on Geoff in the Discord.
Yeah.
And it's all
fun. Yeah, it's for fun. It's
I bet Geoff shits on Digi with his patrons.
Of course he does. I don't know if he does. Geoff seems to think higher of Digi than Digi thinks of Geoff. I think it's funny. It's all for fun. Yeah. And I got into a big comment war with this one guy who was accusing Digibro of shilling for a friend in this video. Because he is wrong. And you're not allowed to be wrong about Digibro's content when I'm on guard.
That's just not a matter of opinion anymore. You're just incorrect.
Yeah. Exactly. There is... I am the true objective God. So... that was that video. I thought it was a really cool video. Digi, good job. Good video.
Yeah.
Good album to Fern. Your album's great. I really liked the Ember song. The one that begins with I don't know if I can wait for December. That song, fucking great. The rest of the album, perfectly fine. So, we have the 2 final episodes of the Pokemon journey.
Quote unquote final.
Well,
or are they confirmed final now?
Yeah, I think he said he dropped the show after episode 7.
Oh, wow.
Like, they ended it.
Damn.
So
that
after
sucks.
the Deoxys movie, I think it was in one of the Patreon exclusive podcasts, he said that, I'm not doing any more of the Pokemon thing.
Oh, I've been having trouble with Patreon, so I haven't been able to listen to any of the Patreon exclusive stuff.
Yeah, it was in the 2 weeks review or Digital's Life or one of those two. He was talking about how he was ending the show. Because he basically realized that they're just going to be reviewing the same movie over and over again, which is what I said. Hashtag what I was right. So...
Yeah, okay.
They cut it a little bit earlier than I thought. I thought they'd get to 9 and then drop it around 10-9 somewhere. Because that's when the formula really sinks in. But they dropped it at 7 because, of course, as always, Digibro realizes how things are going to go way before I do.
Yeah. These 2 episodes were beautiful. They were a joy to watch because it was clear that Digi and May were both in pain the whole way through.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous.
If there's anything we love, it's watching people we respect and are fans of suffer.
Yes, suffer exponentially.
Yeah.
Digi, especially on the episode 7, Digi was audibly going insane.
Yeah.
He was yelling like holy shit.
And there's a whole big thing about like with episode 6, they were coming in with it prepared. You know, if you're about to take a punch to the gut, there's 2 ways you can take it. Either you stand up, you steel yourself, you like tighten your belly, you take the punch and you can handle it. Or, you're just standing around and someone randomly jumps out of nowhere and punches you in the gut and it hurts a fuck ton more.
You can't breathe for like a minute.
Yeah. With Pokemon Uni 6, Digi and May, they steeled themselves. They knew it was going to be bad. They hardened their bellies and they took the punch. And then they were like, fine, now movie 7 is going to be cool. We're not going to get punched in the gut again. And it was like a quick 1-2 punch where like movie 6 delivered a left and then there was a quick right hook right in the fucking liver shot. And they were not ready for it.
It punched harder.
Yeah. And then fucking the Pokemon people just counted to 10. It's like, 10! The match is over! I've been watching a lot of Hajime Ippo lately, if it isn't obvious, with all the boxing references. So yeah, they got boxed the fuck out. Knockout win for the Pokemon series. They're dead.
Oh, man.
So what's interesting now is what are we going to get on first days as form of Digimake content? Because Digi hinted at wanting to make some other kind of Digimake content that was going to release on first days scheduledly. So we'll see what that will be.
Yeah.
If anything, it might be a few weeks before we get it, before they figure out what new thing they want to do.
I want to see some more. I want to see the Ota Cave return.
Yeah, I think that might happen. We might get some more Ota Cave exploration stuff because, yeah, May's a lot better on camera now. So, which we will get to later. But I think that series can really be better now. Of course, that was a series that last happened before we even started this podcast, so we haven't talked about it yet. But it's cool. Manga Mondays, Shortcuts, and Diago the Beast.
I did watch the Shortcuts one. The Diago the Beast one I did not.
Okay, I'm the opposite. So do talk about Shortcuts first, and I can take the other one.
Let me remind myself what Shortcuts actually was. Oh, it was one of his favorite gag comedy manga.
Exactly, and
yes.
It's like a whole bunch of shorts.
Yes, it was super raunchy, super disgusting, but it was really funny. I love the fact that Digi has the ability to like both insanely silly, stupid, disgusting shit like this, but also nuanced, introspective, interesting, psychological stuff. Like both extremes of what art can be in the sense of intelligence, quote unquote intelligence, is what fascinated me the most about this episode. The fact that he can just gush about how silly and funny a stupid manga about a guy that's literally a penis. That's great. Yeah. Dude is a penis. No, like one of the jokes. Okay, one of the jokes is that this girl. One of the jokes is that this girl is they're in elementary school or something, and they're sculpting their parents out of clay, and the girl sculpts this like huge dick, right? This tiny girl sculpts this huge dick, and the teacher's like, oh wow, he's just like impressed by the size of the dick that the little girl is sculpting, and she's like, oh, is that your dad? And the girl's like, yeah, this is my dad. This is how my dad is, and
oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah, and then like, oh, could you introduce your dad to me? I want to meet your dad. Yeah. And then when the teacher meets the dad, the guy is literally just a human penis.
This is great. I love it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that is a good joke. So Digi reviews weird ass raunchy gag. On the other Manga Mondays, Diago the Beast, Digi reviews a bad manga about a cool dude. So Digi has like run-ins with fighting game esports every now and then, because Digi's friends are like big Street Fighter people, a lot of them. He's talked in old vlogs about how a lot of his friends got really into Street Fighter at one point, and that's when they sort of grew apart, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not surprising that Digi would know some things about Diago, how he's this stoic person. By the way, I'm also a guy who has a lot of friends who are really into Street Fighter and fighting game esports, and I'm like tangentially into it. Now the manga Diago the Beast is just a shittily structured manga. Like the guy who wrote it could not make good manga. But what's interesting is that there is a different version of it, which is just a book, which is like the Diago his own biography, Mm-hmm. Much better book. That book is like good. I have a lot of friends who read it and told me about it, and they explained it in a way that's like, yeah, this seems really good. But the manga's biggest problems come in how it's a bad manga, and how the story is like handled really badly, and how they focus on characters they should not be focusing on, and all this stuff. And Digi's just fascinated with this manga's existence, which is one of my favorite things about Digibro, is when he will consume something not because it's good or it's bad or it's mediocre or it's relevant, but just because he cannot comprehend the fact that it's real. And that is what happens in Diago the Beast. He starts it with like, this is an episode where I review a bad manga so that you don't have to read it, but you can know that it's a thing.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, and that is something that I have a lot of appreciation for. Some of my favorite stuff is like stuff that I'm like, this is awesome just because it's real, you know? Because someone made this. And Digi has a way of talking about this kind of thing that really gets to me and really interests me. Because he can get so excited about just the weirdity of something, you know?
Yeah.
That has a lot of value to me.
Me too.
So that's the...
I'll definitely
Manga
check it out then.
Digibro, review Solanin, please.
I found Solanin in a bookstore the other day, and I was so close to buying it. I was so close.
Dude, you'd love it too. It's right up your alley as well.
I'll definitely.
Because you're like an art guy as well, right?
Yeah, I'm an art guy.
Yeah, it's about being an art guy and not having an audience. That's like what the book is about.
Oh my god.
It's great. It's really, really good. And also about struggling with university, another thing you do.
I mean, I'm not struggling, but I can definitely sense the...
Like, finding it boring and stuff.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, that's... That Solanin is great. I hope it comes on, like, this year. My dream is that Solanin Manga Monday happens before, like, New Year's. As long as I'll be happy. So, the Mario Odyssey is Ugly Incident, which is what I titled it in our thing. That's not what the video is called.
The incident.
The incident.
The atrocity.
This is the biggest mainstream drama that Digibros ended up in since like just shit talking anime YouTubers for half an hour thing.
Yeah.
And it's completely for fuck off reasons.
I love
Best guy ever put it best. In his latest video that he dropped this morning about League of Legends, in his Way I Give Us series, he said that like, or maybe no, it wasn't in this video. It was in his live stream that was the night before that. So in Best Gamer's live stream, he said something to the point of, okay, so me and Digibro have different opinions about Odyssey. I think it's great. Digibro thinks it's ugly. We were discussing maybe doing a podcast about it, talking about the game. But then I watched Digibro's video, and Digibro's opinion is basically, I don't like the way this game looks because of these reasons. And that's not really an opinion you can argue with. It's just what he thinks, and he doesn't like the way it looks. There's no reason to talk about it. It's not that interesting.
He's not talking about the gameplay, about any of it. He's just talking about the aesthetic.
Yeah, and it's like a very personal take on like what he thinks looks good.
Which is the entire point of Digibro's existence.
Exactly. And so people are like, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. And the fucking... I legit think it's because Jim Sterling liked this game. So whenever a big fucking Nintendo game comes out, there's like, they have to find someone who doesn't like the game and haunt that people and like hunt him down. And usually that has been Jim Sterling. Yeah,
because he gave... I mean, he didn't dislike Breath of the Wild, for example.
No, he gave it a 7 out of 10, which was a horrible opinion, apparently.
Apparently, a 7 is a 2.
Apparently, it's a bad score. Who would have known? It's like the fucking My Animalist bullshit.
Dude, if you want to get red pilled on like game reviews, go watch Star_'s video called "Jackie Chan is an 8." That basically describes the whole point of that.
That's cool. But yeah, this time Jim Sterling said like, "Oh, this is the best Mario game ever made," right? And Donkey really liked the game, and Nate really liked the game, and like everyone I watch really liked the game.
Yeah, it's getting like 10s all around.
I think the game is fine. I'd give it like an 8.
I don't have it Switch, so I haven't played it.
Yeah, but then like, Digi says it's ugly without playing the game, just watching Let's Plays of it.
I mean, he can have that opinion from watching it. The whole point is just about how the game looks, not how it plays or anything.
Yeah. It's such a fucking milquetoast opinion. It's like a throwaway thing, right? It was supposed to just be a tweet.
Yeah,
it was just a tweet.
And then it fucking blew up.
Then it became 3 tweets, and at the 3rd tweet, he explained everything perfectly. It was the entire opinion. But then people were like, "Fuck you!" Oh, and he had to make a video about it to satisfy.
And then people still didn't get it.
Yeah, and then there were 4chan posts fucking shitting on him from V.
Yes.
He was like trending on Reddit with hatred and shit. As far as I know, I don't know. I don't go to Reddit. I heard he was trending there.
Dude,
it was
hilarious.
It was a fuck storm.
It was great.
If he had a website, it would have gotten DDoSed.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's what Nintendo people do, you know.
I'm surprised somebody didn't go into our Discord and troll.
Yeah, and you know, hashtag not all Nintendo fans. I'm a Nintendo fan as well. It's most of what I play. I'm just not a guy who will scream at someone because they didn't like a game.
And to be fair, I kind of agree with what he says in the video. I think the different styles in the different like worlds don't really mesh well together, and it's just kind of this clusterfuck of different aesthetics that, like, if you go on Galaxy has a very distinct style to it.
Yeah.
All the Mario games have a distinct style, but this one has just everything thrown into it. It has like a Dark Souls world. It's fucking weird.
I very much agree with Digibo's opinion as well, but I do think the game looks good. I admit that everything he says about it is correct. It's not as iconic. It doesn't have this vibe like, wow, I'll always remember this level. I've gotten for like half the game. I've not felt that yet. But what I do feel is that I kind of like the way it looks anyway. I'm not bothered by it. I think the colors look fine. I don't have the same issue that Digi has with the colors, but I definitely understand his opinion, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. If I value the same things you valued, I would also hate how this aesthetic looks.
Yeah.
Very reasonable opinion. Nothing fucking too controversial about it, except that everyone fucking hates him now.
Yeah, fuck everybody else. You don't know what the point is. You missed it.
Look, everyone who's not me, if you haven't seen as much Digibro content as I have, then go watch, catch up, watch it all, watch everything, and then try to understand his opinions.
Or instead just go on Reddit and circle jerk the game forever.
Just watch essential Digibro content, the playlists. Watch those two, and then have an opinion about Digibro's opinion. Good? Fine.
Yes.
Perfect. Because that's just how you have to do with any fucking reviewer. I wouldn't go and have an opinion about, like, Super Bunny Hop because I've seen one of his videos, ever. So when I watch his videos, I can't go like, oh, I understand this guy.
No.
I'd have to watch his fucking catalog. That's how it works.
Yes.
Reviewers have taste. Opinion is subjective. The point of a review is knowing the reviewer's taste, and then knowing your own taste, and then seeing how their points reflect their taste, and then being able to translate their points and see like, oh, but if with their taste they didn't enjoy the thing in this way, then how would those aspects of the thing relate to my taste, and then how much would I like the thing?
Yes.
That's the thought process. People don't get.
I think people look at reviewers and the people who analyze like media in a weird way because they think that the opinion that the creator is putting forward is objective.
Yeah.
Which
that's
has totally
been the
not the case.
Digi has been debunking probably since like 2007.
Yeah.
Or earlier. I don't fucking know.
The guy has stated 1,000 fucking times that the point is not to talk about objectivity because that doesn't exist.
Exactly.
But I guess, people are going to still think that until the end of time.
Yeah. The only thing that is objectively good is me and Fooly Cooley. That's it. Okay, jokes aside. Let's talk about the Appeal of Arthouse.
Yes.
The video Digibro wrote while May was doing makeup in one big spurge.
In 20 minutes.
In 20 minutes, in one big spurge of creativity after watching Neo Tokyo.
After being high for like a whole day.
Yeah, I'm fucking for a whole day. It's like, wake up, smoke a bunch of weed, fuck the whole time. May goes in to get the makeup on. Digi writes an entire main channel video in 20 minutes. And then we go out and eat. And almost crashed to a car on the way.
Oh, that sounds like a typical Digibro day. That whole day kind of encompasses what Digibro is.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in Digi May's Dark Gauntlet 3, which is later down on this list. But what is the Appeal of Arthouse? I don't know. This video, like, the point is very simple. The presentation is very cool.
Yeah.
That's how I would summarize it.
Yeah, it's a simple video. I mean, the Appeal of Arthouse, he just talks about why it's interesting. It's a quick snack of a video.
Yeah, and it goes in again in like explaining Digi's taste a little bit of like, oh, I'm a guy who just likes seeing weird shit, because it interests me that people came up with things.
It kind of brings me back to that whole statement that he said that only a country that got hit with a with a nuclear bomb can come up with shit like this.
Yeah,
I connect that with this video.
Yeah, like that's I don't know. I think that a part of what Digi says is the appeal of Arthouse, I think is sort of the appeal of anime in general for a Western audience, not for the Japanese audience, because for them it's normal. But for me, a guy who grew up with like Swedish children's stories and American movies, anime is weird. Like the entire idea of anime is kind of Arthouse.
For me, it is too.
Now, if you get really deep in the anime, like now I'm closing up on 400 finished shows, it stops being Arthouse, you know? I mean, I would never call SAO Arthouse. But for someone who's seen like 2 anime, SAO sort of feels like the same thing that Digi describes as the appeal of Arthouse is like the appeal of SAO to someone who's only watched Marvel movies.
Yeah. It's different enough to be interesting because you've never seen something like that ever again. Anime is so distinct in its creative, like its creative process and how like the ideas come in, that it's a completely different thing. So yeah.
And the second point that Digi was on about is like how Arthouse can sometimes explore like very narrow things, and that's also something that I see as like the appeal of anime, because like compared to general Western media, if you watch a bunch of random ass Western movies, a lot of times the theme is not as apparent as it is in anime.
Yeah, and they're marketed more towards a broad appeal, whereas most of anime nowadays is very, very, very specific. Yeah,
exactly. So it's sort of the same thought process that leads you there. That's what I got out of this video.
Yeah.
Good video, Digi. Flowery language as fuck.
Yeah, it was great.
You wrote it high. But it's cool. I like the video. Pleeb and Weeb free.
Oh my god.
This was a controversy.
Yes, this was pretty fucking insane.
Munchgate.
Wow. Wow. I mean, that kind of encompasses my whole reaction. Just wow.
Yeah. So Munchie is a controversial figure among Digibro fans.
Yes.
And he is like the least controversial figure to anyone who's ever met him IRL, according to Digibro.
He's not controversial to me. I think that his mystery is what's so appealing to me.
Yeah.
The whole video wasn't about. I don't even remember what the fuck the show they were talking about. Kirei? Yeah, it was Kirei.
Yeah, Kirei.
That was not the point. The point was Munchie. He carried the video. He turned it into an experience I've never had in my life.
Yeah. Of course, the point of the Pleeb and Weeb is never the show they're talking about.
Exactly.
Pleeb and Weeb is an art house project, if you didn't notice, and the appeal of Arthouse. Okay, enough of the memes.
Yes.
But yeah, a lot of people don't like Munchie.
Understandably
because of the way that he expresses his opinions,
and just the way that he is on camera.
Yeah, the way that he will scream like nigger louder than anyone else, and he'll like be this really abrasive person. Now it's just supposed to be comedy. It's just funny. But like we have people like, for example, on the Digibro Discord, there's this guy who's pretty. He's around a lot, and he's called Student of Ethereum. He really doesn't like this because he just doesn't think it's funny, and to him it's like it's just loud and annoying, and he doesn't like it. Yeah. Now to Digi, he thinks this is like the funniest thing ever because he loves Munchie and he loves Munchie's comedy.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of a insight that Digi said that Munchie thought this video wasn't that funny because he thought it was cringy because it's like watching your old self, because this was filmed like more than half a year ago.
Yeah. And
Munchie thinks that he's gotten way better since then. So to Munchie, it was like watching one of your old YouTube videos that you're not proud of anymore. That was his feeling.
For me, it was... I like to compare it with the first time I did acid.
Okay.
It was especially the second half when Munchie's just walking around the camera and Jesse and Digi are just like melting in the background.
Yeah.
It was the same sort of experience. I didn't know what the fuck was happening. I felt like my senses were being violated.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, to say the least.
So I wrote a comment on this video, which was basically explaining my take on it. Because while I did think the video was funny, I can also sort of relate to the exhaustion that Munchie brings.
Yes.
Because I think he's funny, but I also think he's abrasive and annoying at the same time. I feel like I'm sort of the bridge between people who fucking love him and people who get annoyed by him. But I find that the way that Jesse and Digi handled him in the episode, the way they so deliberately went about how they acted in the background, made it a fucking masterpiece to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It becomes this exploration of what it's like feeling fed up and exhausted. A theme that goes through the entirety of Pleeb and the Weeb, through Jesse's arc throughout it.
Yes.
And in this episode, Jesse's like out-weirded and out-louded.
Yes, it's to such an extent that there's a whole section, snippets are put throughout the entire video where he's just talking about how he feels about Munchie and what he thinks Munchie's mindset is, and he can't fucking understand the guy. Like, Jesse, you thought that Jesse was on a level that you couldn't understand? No, Munchie is like the next level.
Yeah, Munchie's on a level that Jesse can't understand.
Exactly.
But Jesse does like Munchie. Like, everyone in the PCP loves Munchie unanimously.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really cool. I think this video is awesome. That's just I love the Pleeb and the Weeb, dude. It's like my favorite thing on the internet.
Me too.
It's so good.
It's like a feature film for me.
Yeah, it is. It's like a 5 times feature film. It's like 10. It's 10-hour feature film. It's the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but better. Yeah, it's really fucking great.
Yeah.
So
hopefully the next one comes out soon enough to where we don't forget.
I'm predicting it comes out right before Christmas.
That's a good point, I'd say.
Yeah, that's my guess. And if not, it will probably come out mid-January if it's not out by Christmas. Just because of the holidays and stuff. So you have Yuge Damn 7 Emotional Depth versus New Music Reviews. Now this is an old video by now, because this came out right when me and Phantom released the last episode of this podcast.
Yeah, but I still feel like this is a good point to discuss because it's relevant and will continue to be relevant as long as new music is being made. Yeah.
So if you talk about the musical aspect of it, I'll go on a Digi meta rant later.
Okay.
What do you think about this video?
Well, the whole debate of emotional depth versus new music reviews, and how he compares this whole thing with Anthony Fantano, the internet's busiest music nerd, and how new music, like the way Fantano consumes media is very immediate. It's very on the spot. It's just his thoughts in the moment. And they're not, like, he explicitly talks about the fact that his reviews don't really carry themselves through time that much. Like, a review from 4 years ago might not be the same, like, his opinion might not be the same. It's just what he thought at the moment, which is pretty similar to what Digi's mindset is in terms of watching anime. And that sort of connection between the two made the point understandable, and how an album might have a certain emotional depth that it carries through time, instead of it being immediate. And I think that in regards to Damn, because it's in the title, or in other projects such as this, I think the emotional depth of it is going to increase the more time passes. Mm-hmm. And the thoughts of how it was immediate are gonna pass, you know?
Yeah, that's basically Digibro's point in his video.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it was cool. Like, it's another one of Digibro's videos. He has like a genre of videos where he tries to define terms for how to think about art, right? Mm-hmm. And it's one of my favorite kind of videos he does. you could see it like another example of it would be gimmick versus art. It's that kind of video, where he takes like, okay, you have this kind of thing and you have this kind of thing, and this is how they can relate to each other. And here he describes like, oh, new music hype albums versus emotionally deep albums that last longer through time.
Yeah,
I think this is relatable to anime as well, because Digibro often talks about how something might age weirdly on his list, and it's something I experience as well. I know he mentioned with the Tonkatsu DJ, he gave that show a low 7 initially, and then he couldn't stop thinking about it. So he was like, oh, is this really a 7? I can't stop thinking about Tonkatsu DJ. It's aging really well in my mind. Maybe it's an 8. In the end, he didn't give it an 8, but like that thought process was explored in some old vlog.
Yes.
My power is knowing what Digibro said, not where he said it. So yeah, I think that's the same kind of point, and now we got it more defined in a music video.
Yeah.
A video about music, not an actual music video. Whatever. That's what's cool about this video, I think.
Yeah.
So then we have Dark Gauntlet 3.
This is a huge video.
Yes. I've sort of outlined 4 topics that they covered.
Yeah, the biggest 4, because there's a ton of them, but the biggest 4 are... Go ahead.
Nitorino, May's sister's fiance, and how they got engaged on her birthday. Dick move, guys. Dick move. And then May's self-confidence in videos. Thinking about a little bit, is she good on the videos? Is she not good on the videos? How should they be thinking about it? I mean, no one's doubting that Digi and May do is a good series, but like more about the finish and fail stuff.
Exactly.
Then there is the rant about many, many drugs. And
which
then
I can get into.
Then there is the whole Digibro response to Victor. Like Digi and May both respond to Victor's doubt about his gender fluidity. And then there's a big rant about autism.
Yes.
So let's start with many, many drugs. You have a lot to say here.
Yes. I am a big drug person. I got introduced to it when I came into the US for the first time, and I became friends with the people who were doing it the right way, who were doing it a healthy way, in a very inclusive and friendly manner, informative. So my introduction to drugs, especially psychedelics, was very positive. And so when I heard them talking about the fact that they want to experiment with more psychedelic drugs, I geeked out completely because I know all about them. First of all, they mentioned that they want to try acid, but that they're either afraid or unsure of how it's gonna affect them. Acid is very dependable upon your own mood at that moment. You want to establish yourself in a comfortable mood. You wanna see some, I don't know, cool stuff on the TV. You want to put some prog rock or some kind of psychedelic music. You want to feel like you're being transported into a fantasy realm when you're on acid. Because if you do it and you're stressed out, or you're doing it on the spot, it's gonna be a bad experience, because it lasts like 12 hours or 16 sometimes, and it's very intense. It's very abrasive experience. Everything just kind of collects.
So is it like, it's also like a good Miyazaki drug? Like
I wouldn't say no. I
nice.
wouldn't say it's a good Miyazaki drug, because it's a good art house drug. It's a good drug to watch stuff and listen to music and not really think about things.
Okay.
So
it's like the opposite of weed.
Exactly. You, like, for example, what I did with my friends is that we would put Dark Side of the Moon and we'd put Alice in Wonderland, and that was like amazing, because you just watched Alice in Wonderland you just like the music, you watch some psychedelic stuff on the screen, and then you just trip out. You know, you have this experience of visual, auditory experience, and that's the whole thing. Yeah. It's be careful with the mood with acid, because if it gets caught up and you get stressed out, it can be horrible. But man, when it flies, it's great.
So my favorite art house thing is cat soup, and I basically imagine acid, because I don't do drugs, right?
Yeah.
And I imagine acid as everything looking like cat soup.
If I were to explain it, all the colors switch out, and they sort of resolve. Like if you're looking like at a poster, the colors are gonna bounce back and forth, and they're gonna change in like a rainbow tile thing. Also, your body feels weightier, sluggisher. It's kind of like you're moving through water. And when you lay down, especially in like a warm blanket or something, it's like you're being, it's like you're in a sauna, basically. All your senses are expanded like tenfold, basically. And
so,
go ahead.
Digi may have now done weed, Ritalin, smoking. What do you think is like the next step that they should be going to?
The next step. The next step I think for them would be Molly, or MDMA. And this is the type of drug that you don't want to be at home for. This is the type of drug that you go outside and you go to a theme park, or you go to the beach or something, or you do like a concert, or you do an interesting activity, something that'll get you pumped up. Because Molly, what it does is it makes you happy. It makes you excited, happy the whole way through.
So it's like ecstasy.
Yes, it's basically ecstasy.
Okay.
It's not the sit-at-home type of thing, because you're so filled with energy that you just want to run around and you want to talk and scream and you're so excited to just do things physically. That's the type of thing that it's great for sex and that type of stuff. So definitely Molly encourage it. And the last one I want to recommend, although it's harder to find, it's called ACO DMT. And for me, this is
Is this like a spice thing?
No, it's like little pieces of paper that you swallow, and they taste like shit, but you swallow them. And what they do for me, they enhance my creative output, enhance the thought process that I have at that moment, and my ability to talk, basically. So
it'd be a good meta hole drug.
Yes, it'd be a great meta hole drug, because especially someone like Digi, if you take that, you will just talk for hours. You will talk about everything and anything for hours. And you'll find
Digi already has a drug to talk for hours, and it's called waking up.
Exactly. But this one is more so, even more so.
Okay.
It's not as active as Molly or ecstasy. Like, it won't make you physically active, but it's uplifting, and it's sort of like inspiring in a way. It makes you feel inspired to do something creative.
Nice. Cool.
That's the drugs.
So I love that we're doing a podcast together when you're like a big druggie and I'm like an anti-drug person.
Yes.
Now, my big response to this, they actually called me out in this video as like the guy in Digibro's community who doesn't do drugs. And I wrote a big comment responding to that. So I'm not going to read it up on the podcast now, but if you want to see me defending my views on drugs and alcohol, do read the comment section on this Digi and May video, because I'm really proud of that comment. Yeah, then they talked about May's involvement in videos.
Yeah.
So
and this has been brought up in the Discord as well. There was a big talk with a lot of people were talking about May.
Yeah. I think the general idea is that she's great. And we all like her.
I do like her a lot. I think the improvement is very visible. It is. In fact, I watched the first Ota Cave expedition recently, and it's like watching the beginning of K-On! When you've already seen K-On!
Yeah,
it's kind of like that.
It's really different, and that's sort of what Digi summarizes. But I think that the best, like Econ summed up a critique of this, right?
Yes.
Econ is a guy who hangs out in the Digibro Patreon. He's like really known in anime communities because he's like the most educated guy out there. Yeah. And he critiqued this. He didn't critique May. He critiqued Digi. That Digi takes up too much space, and Digi can really. May's evolved and become good. Now Digi needs to adapt to sort of let her blossom a bit more.
And I kind of agree with that.
Yeah. It'd be cool if they tried that. If Digi like made it a confident effort to try to let May forward a bit more.
Yeah,
and
to invite her into a more equal state of conversation. Because he's used to talking for hours, you know?
And she's used to listening.
Exactly. So
now if Digi does this, as an experiment, like throw it out for one of the finish or fails. Like say like, okay, this finish or fail, our goal is for me to talk a little bit less. How we're gonna go about this? Make a process out of it.
Exactly.
And see what the result is. If the result is really good, then keep doing it. If it isn't, then fuck it. It's fine. We like it. We like this video anyway.
The point is to prepare yourselves for it, because you can't just throw on the camera and be like, "May, talk more." You know.
Yeah. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
Actually, find a process for it.
Yes.
I mean, we have this issue in this podcast as well. I talk more than Ghuntz. This is known.
But
And-
the balance that I find is that I like listening to you, and I
Yeah.
think that you talking more is better.
Yeah. But I'm very confident. I'm very aware of that. So sometimes I'm like, okay, Ghuntz talk. I say that all the time. I tell him to talk.
Yes.
And this has come from because I took a lot of training in how to get people to talk. I did work in an organization where we had a lot of meetings, and I was the chairman for a big organization. So it's the anti-drug one. So I had to learn how to get people to speak up. And it's hard when you yourself want to speak up all the time. And
Yes.
I don't force myself to do that too much in this podcast. I do like talking, but it's a thing. So it takes active effort. And I think that if May's listening to this, I don't think she is, but you're great. I really like your videos. You have a cool personality. When you talk in a fun way. You have a good rhythm to your speaking. You're intelligent.
It's clear that she's very motivated and very excited to talk about what she's talking about. You can hear it in her voice that she's excited to talk about stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And she's excited to talk about stuff with Digi, which is also cool. Yeah, I think May's great. And then it is the whole. We talked about Digibo's gender thing a lot on the last episode when you weren't on. Do you have anything you want to say about that, or?
I mean, I don't want to come off. I don't want to come off as an asshole, but I really see myself very separate from the whole transgender issue. I don't really like both my best friends are trans, but they do their own thing. I don't really think about that stuff. I don't really. If you can think whatever you want of yourself, I'm not gonna stop you. I don't really care.
Yeah, what I think is a great opinion. So anyway, Victor doubted the whole thing, and they have a little bit of response to this. And in it, they list autism. Now again, I wrote a massive response because I have Asperger's syndrome myself. I also have ADHD. And these are basically the thing that Digi thinks he might have, and these are things that I am 100% sure that he has. Because I think that Digi has the exact same diagnostic situation as I do. And if you want to learn more about that, again, on this video, there is a 2,000 word long comment or some shit where I explain exactly why Digibro has Asperger's and ADHD, and why May might also have it, but I don't know as much about May, so I only write 100 words about her. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I'm correct here. Great, we got through the content.
Yes,
we did it. Anything you want to say about any more of these things?
I'm very Digi. I'm very. You have no idea how excited I am for your Shinkai video, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit later in a second.
Yeah, after I get to do my plug.
Yeah, do your plug and then we'll talk about that.
Yeah, so my plug is that yesterday I listened to the entire audiobook of Scarlet City, Tales of from the Underworld, Scarlet City, which is Digibo's book that he wrote 7 years ago, recorded 1 year ago, and I wanted to talk about it on this podcast in a Digging Deep segment, but I was too excited, so I just recorded it in advance and released it as his own vlog. So on this Digibo channel, there is a video called What a Response to Digibo's Book. Great pun in the title. I'm so proud of it. What a response. So yeah, go watch that video. I think it's my favorite rant I've done about Digibo's content ever. It's really good. I really like what I'm saying in it. It's better than this podcast. So it's better than what I say in this podcast. Sadly, it doesn't have Ghuntz. But
maybe I'll read it and maybe I get inspired to do a video of mine.
Yeah, maybe. It's a great video if you're not sure if you want to read or listen to Digibo's book or not. I think that my video explains perfectly what kind of person should be listening to that book and what kind of person should just skip it.
Okay.
So that's if you're interested in Digibo's book, not Light Novel Like a Day. Everyone should listen to that book. It's great. But the older Scarlet City book, if you're interested in it, you don't know if you should watch it or not, you can watch my video and get an opinion. Great. News or goss? We have some goss.
Yes, we
and
do.
some news. So Digibro is releasing, at the end of November, he's releasing his Shinkai video, which is going to be 80 minutes long and is currently in the editing bay with Dabu.
Turns out, though, that a couple days ago, or even yesterday, Geoff, through professional professional shitbag, released a 23-minute video about Shinkai, about just going through Shinkai and his stylistic, I guess, differences, or his, I guess, just pretty backgrounds and pretty backgrounds and pretty backgrounds and more pretty backgrounds.
Geoff's point was basically, oh, this movie had pretty backgrounds, and then this next movie had very easily the prettiest background of Shinkai's career so far. Before the next movie, which had the prettiest backgrounds of Shinkai's career so far. Before the next movie, which had suddenly it had character animations and the prettiest backgrounds of Shinkai's career so far.
Yeah, and the writing is a little bit bad on this one movie, and that's it.
Yeah. Probably his thesis is not that wrong. Like the whole point of Geoff's 20-minute video is Shinkai's a bit more digital than Miyazaki is. You shouldn't really compare them to each other, but Shinkai probably will have a similar respectable position in the industry. It's not a point.
I felt like going through his entire catalog wasn't necessary, because all of Shinkai's movies are similar enough to where you can group them together and talk about them.
Yeah, and Geoff didn't actually go into any of the videos.
Yeah.
He didn't go into the movies in detail. And even when he tried to shit on one of the movies, right? He tried to say that
Children Who Chase Lost Voices.
Yeah, it's a bad movie. But even when trying to say that that's a bad movie, which it is, Ghuntz, you've seen it, you give it like a 1 out of 10.
I give it a low 2.
A low 2, okay.
I consider it the worst anime movie I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, yeah. And even when Geoff was trying to shit on it, he was like trying to not offend anyone so hard. He was like, some people really like it, and here, I'll show you 3 people who gave this movie a 5-star review because their opinion is relevant.
I
mean, anyone who gives this movie a 5-star review obviously is good enough at having opinions. Fuck, man.
They clearly know how the creative process works.
Yeah. So the drama with this is that Digi announced that he was doing a Shinkai video way back. Yeah. And he finished writing it in like the 1st of November. He finished writing his video. So Digi's video is like the 1st, but it's gonna release 2nd because it's going to be edited for a whole month.
I mean, it's an 80-minute video and it's completely edited. So yeah.
Now where the goss comes in is the fact that Geoff Fu's editor, Pedantic Romantic, Lachlan, she is in our Discord server, the Digibro patron Discord server. And she basically said that, this video, Geoff definitely wanted to release this before Digi's video, because Digi's videos is fine coming out after, because Digi already announced it before, so there's going to be no, Digibois is never going to be accused of copying Geoff Fu. Because he announced this video a month ago. Exactly. And also Digi's video is 80 minutes long and way more detailed. Yeah. So Geoff just kind of quickly scribbles together a video so that because this is his window where he can release a Shinkai video and it can be relevant. Because once Digi's video comes out, all other Shinkai videos that aren't responses to Digi's video will be irrelevant.
According to Lachlan, Geoff was told by Funimation that they wanted him to do a Shinkai video, and that's why he did it. So
that's why he did it. But the reason why it happened now is that the video could never have happened after December starts.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's why the video felt a bit rushed, honestly.
Yeah, and kind of unfocused and kind of pointless.
It had a whole bunch of tangents that went nowhere. Look, it's no surprise that me and Ghuntz are no fans of Geoff's content.
Yeah.
But I really do think that this is like one of his worst videos. Even when his point is not wrong. Like, the point is fine. It's just that he argues for 20 minutes and he brings up a whole bunch of arguments that have nothing to do with the point.
Yeah.
It's like 4 incredibly bad reviews.
And pretty backgrounds.
That don't have anything to do with the point that he then presents in 3 minutes. Like, the last 3 minutes of this video is the video.
Yeah, he
And
he does not talk about Miyazaki at all, even though he's in the title.
Yeah.
You could have talked about how, like, the whole video could have just been how Shinkai is using the digital age to its full capacity, while Miyazaki used the cell animation era to its full capacity.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the whole video.
Yeah, that's the whole video. But no, we gotta talk about how every single movie's backgrounds is prettier than the last movie's pretty backgrounds.
Yeah. You could
for
just
20 minutes.
Yeah. You know?
Fuck.
The video was more of a retrospective, a weak-ass retrospective of Shinkai's career than anything.
Notice how he didn't talk about the writing of any of the movies?
Yes, he did not. He didn't.
He
mentioned
nothing.
that Children of the Whales was a bad movie, but that is it. He didn't mention the writing or anything.
It's almost like he said at one point that Shinkai wrote all the movies, but he doesn't think of Shinkai as a guy who writes movies. He doesn't realize that Shinkai wrote these movies and that is also something he can be critiqued for.
Exactly.
But we need Digi's video on Shinkai now. We need it.
Yes.
Davu, edit this video. We need to end this discussion.
I am so ready for that because that whole day was so painful because most of his movies are shit.
Yeah, because you spent the whole day watching all his movies.
I spent a whole day watching his movies, and I need an emotional catharsis.
Yeah.
I have this thing building up inside of me that I need to release.
Yeah, great. So Ghuntz, that was feeding the condom machine for this week.
Good. I liked it. I'm glad to be back, and let's keep doing it.
Your audio is fine. Your audio is intact. It's not gone. Is the electricity in Florida still here?
Yes, we're not getting hit by any hurricanes anymore.
For now.
Yeah, I paid my electric bill, so I don't need to worry about that anymore.
Yeah. I'm going to get hit by blizzards soon though, so maybe
shit.
my end is going winter's coming to Sweden, dude. It's already when we started recording this podcast, it was like 4-5 p.m. and the sun was long gone.
Oh wow.
I don't have light anymore.
Damn.
And it's not even it's still a month until we hit top darkness. It's still getting darker, so yeah. Welcome to Sweden, bitches. Anyway, see you in the Discord.
Yeah.
Bye.
Later.
Oh no. I said I was a genius and then dropped the N-word. No one's gonna believe me anymore.
Sometimes things come out in life that hold a special place in your heart. Big Dig Samurai NIG is one of these things. On a new album with 26 tracks, Digi creates an entirely improvised album that is the most Japanese nigga white dude thing that's ever been created. But if you listen closely, you'll find what may be the greatest love song ever written. And that is all I have to say about Big Dig Samurai NIG, something I forgot to talk about in this podcast. Thank you. Do, by the way, get the album downloaded, because only half the tracks are available on the actual Bandcamp website thingy, and if you actually download the album for free and you get it sent to your email and stuff, as if you would have bought it, you get double the amount of albums as a hidden thing. It's pretty fun. Frep!
But here's what I'm gonna do, and now everybody's gonna know it, but only a few people will ever hear this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put it on Bandcamp, but I'm gonna cut out it. I'm gonna cut each song down to just the most essential part, the best part, and there'll be a Bandcamp release of each song with just the best part. But if you buy the album, there will be bonus tracks in between all the real songs that fill in the rest of the time. And you'll never know that unless you purchase the album. It's the only way to find out it has bonus tracks, which no one will probably ever do. Maybe one guy. And he'll tell other people, but they won't care, because only one guy will actually care. So he'll be the only one who ever hears these insert pieces. That's you, listener.